welcome to the 6th season of the PI show. My name's Harry Nowicki. I'm a PI lawyer. I'm with Tony Carbone.
Good evening, viewers. Good evening, Harry.
We're back again, and I've got a special guest this week, which is John Karantzis, a senior lawyer.
Good evening.
Senior law firm.
Good evening, John.
The PI show is a show which discusses each week personal injury cases. That is, people who are injured and seek some remedy, damages, compensation in court. And we discuss court cases throughout Australia and throughout the world, Tony.
Yeah, we're talking about cases that happen in America and England and other parts of the world.
So we practice in that jurisdiction, and we try and keep up to date with what's happened in personal injuries throughout Australia. So we find it interesting, and hopefully the viewers will find it interesting.
Harry, I guess that opening was for first-time viewers. I think there is a few out there at the moment, and let's hope that there's more people switching on.
Yeah, so we hope Channel 31 continues to get bigger and better. Tony, the first segment we have, and we'll continue this season, will be What's in the News.
Well, Harry, what's been in the news has been a lot, but in particular the floods. There's been a lot of issues about...
floods? Whereabouts have they been, Tony?
The whole of Australia, barring Western Australia.
Have
then
they?
Again, they've got their own problems too. So, look, the real issue about the floods is insurance policies and the definition of flood. What we find is that a lot of people aren't insured for flood because if you've got water coming downstream or, you know, if it's not direct damage to your house by rainwater, more often than not, you're not covered by these insurance policies.
Flood, a river which breaks its banks may not fall in the definition of flood. Flood is just rain coming down.
And there's been a lot,
flooding.
Yeah, and it's been very...
Well, that's fine print in an insurance contract, isn't it, Tony?
It is.
So, look, people should either have a broker who can explain to them what...
well, the brokers have been a problem too because they haven't been explaining these things. I think it's important that the particular policyholder should consult a lawyer or someone that can read the policy to them and explain what the definition means.
What is covered and what isn't covered.
Because if it's not covered, what you can do is probably pay a bit more insurance to pick up floods
damage
downstream and things like this.
Yeah.
So I think that's very important that you do read your policies because a lot of people assume that the policy is the actual schedule to the policy.
Of the quantum of what...
Yes, without reading what the policy means.
What the definitions are.
Yeah. And that's also right across the board, Harry and John, not just...
any insurance policy.
Car policies, house policies.
And dare I say, superannuation policies.
Everything, Harry. Yeah.
Very important.
Tony, what's their remedy?
I just think that, you know, there's going to be... The government's got to kick in.
There's
in the short
misleading, deceptive conduct
Trade
issues.
Practices
And
Act.
Trade Practices Act, possibly.
Yeah.
And there's a insurance dispute tribunal.
There's
also,
an ombudsman.
Which is
Insurance
an ombudsman.
Yeah.
Is the other person you'd consult.
But I think it's important that people do read their policies right across the board. This highlights the pitfalls of people taking out insurance policies and not reading them.
Yep.
And checking what you're insured for.
Now, look, this evening we got John here, who is an unusual lawyer. And you know why he's unusual is because last year he ran 2 cases to verdict in the Supreme Court of Victoria, both $1 million verdicts for the plaintiffs. And to my knowledge, he's the only lawyer in Melbourne who ran 2 cases to verdict and got $1 million.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone else in the current jurisdiction practicing that's done that.
It's unusual. There's a lot of skill involved in getting cases to court and then running them and then getting a successful verdict.
Well, you've got to have your wits about you too. You know what I mean?
Look, courts have trials have a life of their own, John. That's my...
Yeah, no, they're very tough. However, we believed in the plaintiff, we believed in the injured worker, and we had to take it all away. So, John, we'll come. Maybe we probably should start with the 2 verdicts. One was unreported. Was a jury verdict for $1.1 million. It was a 31-year-old Vietnamese worker. Yes, Dong Pham. He was injured.
Working for Stramit, I think.
Stramit Corporation. He was a labourer working on a very old machine, lifting purlines repetitively and repeatedly over the day.
What are the dimensions of these purloins, John?
They're quite long, as in 3 or 4 metres in length. There was a dispute as to their weight. Could have easily been 10 kilograms.
But firstly, the 31-year-old Vietnamese, I think the pain and suffering damages was in the sum of $250,000. I thought that was a bit light. That's a jury verdict.
It's a jury verdict.
And the loss of wages for the future, in effect, was over $800,000.
Yes, so it's a $1.1 million verdict. He suffered severe lower back injuries. He had a failed spinal fusion. And
so he's walking with a limp. It affected the rest of his life, in effect.
Yes, exactly.
And so I think I saw him around court with a walking stick and really struggling to walk.
Yes.
And I don't know whether the prospects were he might end up in a wheelchair or not.
Well, they weren't good.
No.
Harry. No. A lot of medication he was on.
The issue was liability, that his fault.
Yes.
Because the facts of the case were all over the place, weren't they?
Well, there were issues as to whose fault the injury was. The employer was saying that they provided a safe workplace. We said no. The worker was required to repetitively perform heavy lifting on a daily basis, and over a 2-year period he sustained these injuries to his back.
But there was no incident. He didn't trip or fall or didn't sort of break his back.
It was in the course
over a period of time, which is not unusual.
Exactly.
And so he suffered this injury and it had catastrophic effects on his life.
Yes.
And I think the time was as an 03, stopped work in 03.
Yes.
And then the trial was in 010.
Yes.
So it took 7 years to get to a finality.
Exactly, yes.
So
we tried to negotiate a settlement, however, the employer did not offer enough money, and we're talking about the rest of his life, and that's why we had to take it all away.
John, was there an alternative way of doing the work? Because, I mean, there was 2 engineers giving evidence about the nature of the work.
There was an alternative way. The employer should not have made the workers perform this in a physical sense, and they could have provided mini cranes to perform this work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, I think we've got to go to a sponsors break, guys. So, viewers, keep watching. Don't go away. We'll be back very shortly. Stay tuned. Thank you.